into this video, but you know, we're all in lockdown, we can't do anything. So, I mean, it's the reason we made this goddamn channel. So, let's just get right into this. So, I'm currently playing the trailer of a movie that almost made this list. This movie is one of the first, adult movies, you could say, that I ever watched, and it's obvious, World's End. And this movie was fantastic in my mind. It's hilarious. You know, such many jokes as, is it a window or is it a door? Maybe it's a window. I laughed more times than I can remember during this movie, but it didn't beat the 5 movies. It didn't do what the 5 movies could do that are on this list. And for most of these movies, I didn't know I liked them this much. But I had 10 nominated movies, and I sat down, watched them all, and after all the thought that I put into this, I think I finally came up with the 5 movies to go on this list. Adam will probably do a top 5 games, and I might even do a top 5 games, but both of these videos are going to be completely based on opinion. These are not facts, obviously. So let's just head right into this with number 5.
Oh no!
Right, I did not know that I liked this movie this much, but I adore War for the Planet of the Apes. It's such a roller coaster of emotions, different emotions, yet every single character has emotions that we need to care about. Even this little girl that doesn't talk at all, she's a very key part of the story. If one of these characters was taken out of the story, then it wouldn't be as good as it is. It'd be quite a disappointment. Right at the beginning, we're shown the soldiers infiltrating the apes, and the apes are on the run the whole film, and Caesar has to be the leader that he has to be, but he's still thinking about Koba, so it's quite hard for him to act. But while he's trying to think about the apes and where to move, the soldiers and the general are right behind him. About 20 minutes into this movie, they've already killed Caesar's family, and the general just runs off like nothing ever happened. It's really giving the apes more emotion than the humans, and it's kind of weird for us because, you know, we're kind of humans. But what I like about this film is, yes, it is called War, and people are upset about that, and it's kind of just a battle. But for me, it's about, this kind of brings all 3 movies together, and that's what makes it the war. This is all about the apes bringing peace for them. But I really like how it's not just a bunch of guns and explosions everywhere. It's really about the apes outsmarting and using their abilities to kill and, well, just defeat the humans. And they find this girl showing that not all humans are bad, it's just the selected ones. So they don't really have to kill the whole world, if you get what I mean. And in the end, Caesar dies, but he knows that he did what he had to do. In the end, he obviously, as I just said, he dies, but yes, he knows that he doesn't have to run anymore, and his kind doesn't have to run anymore. And I think that this movie handles emotion and the characters really well. There is not a piece of bad acting in this movie. Again, when watching these movies, I did not know that these would be on my list, and especially this one, especially number 4, Logan. This movie is amazing. It is definitely the best of the X-Men trilogy. It is obvious that Hugh Jackman is incredible in this movie. He really dropped the bomb on his last performance as this character, and it really shows that Wolverine can feel, emotion. Emotion's going to be a very recurring factor in these choices. I love how they handle the villains in this movie. The fact that you're not really meant to focus on them. It's the fact that Logan has to continuously run away and he has to keep the professor safe. But in the end, he knows that he's not the man he used to be, and the professor dies, making it extremely emotional. I cried about 2 times in this movie, obviously when the professor died and when Logan died, and it was 2 of the greatest deaths, or 2 of the greatest acted deaths that I've ever seen. And 100% this is the best X-Men movie to ever come out, and the best I've ever seen, best action movie I've seen in a very long time, with some really foul language and some quite brutal violence. Now, I'm pretty sure everyone loves this movie. It is the perfect, one-part wrap-up to all the Marvel films. And yes, you will have to watch every Marvel film before watching this, aside from a few. I mean, Thor 1, Thor 2, Thor 3, Thor 4, Thor 5, Thor 6. No, Thor Ragnarok's pretty good. There's not 6, but don't watch The Incredible Hulk either. But on to Infinity War. I said one of the best action movies I've seen in a while with Logan, but this is the best. Honestly, there is so much, I know in Endgame, you're like, yes, when Captain America says Avengers Assemble, but when Captain America and Black Panther just, they're running towards the enemy, and, they're killing them all, it's just amazing, and it's just, I found myself with a big smile on my face. Apart from Ego in Guardians 2, Thanos' intentions are very clear to the audience. It's very clear why he is doing what he is doing. And it's also made very clear that Thanos is a very tough dude. He's very hard to kill, and that is proven very clearly until Thor comes along. But it's quite clear that he is the baddest and best villain we've ever seen in comic book history. Also, again, with the classic Avengers humor, and this one has some very, very good humor, such as...
What, Thanos? All right, let me ask you this one time. What master do you serve?
What master do I serve? What am I supposed to say, Jesus?
You're from Earth.
I'm not from Earth, I'm from Missouri.
Yeah, that's on Earth, dipshit.
Hee. Really, there's not much else to say about this movie. It's just the perfect action movie, the perfect Marvel movie, perfect villain, perfect heroes, just everything you ever wanted in a Marvel film is right here. I'm pretty sure someone said in the comments one time, what about being the owner of DC watching Infinity War? I mean, you'd literally be shitting yourself. Who doesn't love Spider-Man? Seriously, if you don't like Spider-Man, then you don't like superheroes in general. I already talked about this movie in a past video, about people knowing their shit. And what did I talk about? When people know their shit, I'm gonna like a movie. And maybe this isn't the last superhero movie on this list. I've already talked about this. This movie has emotion, handles Spider-Man incredibly well, and it's not Peter Parker, it's based on Miles Morales. And Miles is a fantastic Spider-Man, great voice acting in this movie, and an amazing story. Peter Parker dies in it, for Christ's sake. Miles wanting to learn how to be Spider-Man, but the Peter Parker in the Ultimate Dimension is quite fat, so he kind of has to figure out how to be Spider-Man himself, which he eventually does. And it's a very inspiring movie, and it definitely deserves to be watched by everyone. And I've met a couple people that said that this movie is, they said it's awful, but no. Well, it's come down to this. My favourite movie of the decade is indeed... The reason this movie is here is simply because anyone can watch this movie and have a really, really fun time watching it. If you want to get anyone into these movies, into the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, you show them this film first, because even though hardly anyone knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were, I know for a fact that most of my family didn't, but they all love this film because it's got fantastic acting, fantastic story, and just a fantastic action experience. Everybody and their mother know who Rocket Raccoon is now. This movie was also hilarious in areas where it didn't even need to be. It was just a fun action movie. The story is also really engaging for comic readers because this is where they fully started to show the Infinity Stone, starting with the Power Stone. And then as soon as I was shown this, I was blown away. Throughout this movie, it really builds on all the characters' personalities. The first scene is starting with like a very, very dark scene. So you think this movie is going to be dark and moody and grim. But really, Peter Quill, right now he's flipping off everyone. But the first scene shows him dancing to a song, Come Get Your Love. I love that goddamn song. But that perfectly shows what his personality is right at the start of the movie. And that brings me to why this movie is the greatest thing of all time. Like, literally. And that's the soundtrack. Honestly, it's one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in a piece of media. It is so engaging. And every single time you hear one of these songs, it just gets you on your feet. And it puts this big smile on your face when watching this movie. As always, fantastic acting. They took the Guardians of the Galaxy, making no one know about them, and turned them into a worldwide phenomenon. Well, that's it. Agree with me or not, this is my top 5 of the decade. The word decade and 5 really put a challenge to coming up with this list, but I will be doing a top 5 games of the decade, and so will Adam. I mean, might be working on it now. Oh shit, there he is. Bye.